Good evening. I'm Kim Christensen.
I'm Kyle Clark. Fires raging in Southern California are now believed to have destroyed more than 10,000 buildings, many of those homes. 7 people are confirmed to have died. The Kenneth Fire, it's the newest, started this afternoon. It's already burned more than a full square mile, triggered yet another new round of evacuations. Strong winds are expected to help it spread quickly. There is progress to report. Firefighters finally managed to get some containment on the Palisades fire, which burned about 31 square miles. It's now 6% contained. This is drone video over the damaged area. Investigators say they still don't know the cause of any of the fires that started this week.
An artist in Southern California who used to call Colorado home has now lost 2 homes to wildfires. Sarah Christine Cotner has been renting out a condo in Malibu. She says she had about 15 minutes to get her stuff and evacuate this week before her home went up in flames.
I go outside and I realize that there's smoke up there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's happening again. You know, I went through a fire in Colorado. I lost my home in Colorado too. It's just crazy to think I'm 40 and now I've lost 2 homes to fires. It's nuts.
Sarah wants people to know that not everyone who lost their homes in these fires is a celebrity or has a bunch of money. She points out many of these people are just like the rest of us, just like Coloradans who work hard and appreciate the beauty of where they live. The damage in California is catastrophic, even more so when you factor in that some of those homes recently lost their insurance.
9 News reporter Spencer Soyshers here. Spencer, Democratic Governor Jared Polis talked specifically about the access and availability of homeowners insurance in his State of the State today.
Yeah, the governor says he wants to be sure that Coloradans have access to insurance and at affordable prices. But the director of the Rocky Mountain Insurance Information Association says lawmakers better be careful with what they do. She believes an insurance crisis could be on the horizon. Houses burning in California are a painful reminder for people in Colorado who lost their homes in perhaps the Marshall, Cameron Peak, or East Troublesome fires. It's also a reminder of what came after them, too.
The skyrocketing homeowner insurance rates. I hear from Coloradans across our state, I'm sure you have too, who either can't find coverage or who've seen very large increases, even priced out of the market.
Colorado Governor Jared Polis wants legislators at the state capitol to tackle homeowners' insurance problems.
Colorado is at a tipping point.
Carol Walker is the executive director of the Rocky Mountain Insurance Information Association. They try to help the public understand insurance. She doesn't think the historic fires in California will have a direct impact on premiums and availability in Colorado. But she believes if lawmakers implement certain policies, it could.
In California, some of what's added to their insurance crisis, what's pushed companies out of California, is they've suppressed rates.
In California, 7 of the top 12 insurance carriers either cut existing homeowners' policies or stopped selling new ones.
And thanks to the leadership of Speaker McCluskey and
Governor Polis didn't directly mention suppressing rates Thursday. In fact, he had ideas for ways to hopefully lower rates.
And looking at risk reduction efforts that can directly translate to lower costs.
Fire mitigation efforts are more so what Walker believes will keep insurance companies in Colorado and not fleeing at the rate they are in California.
We can't make the same mistakes in Colorado. We have the same recipe for disaster here that we have in California.
Walker also said that seeing the fires should make the average homeowner take a look at what insurance coverage that they have and also any fire mitigation that they can do in their area. Spencer Soysher, 9 News.
It was another messy morning commute. Sky 9 got this view of a few vehicles off the road on I-70 near Bennett. The good news, the winter storm that brought those conditions is on the way out. We're expecting better weather to end the week. It's been a rough week.
Yeah, meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen is along now. And I feel like in terms of the drive, Corey, it really was one of those things where like some spots were fine, some were not fine. Often those spots were next to each other.
Exactly, and a lot like we've seen all throughout the year, the hot spot has been the very same location in the south and southeast Denver metro on out into the eastern plains. It's just gonna repeating process here, but at least that episode is now over. You can see from the radar picture now all the snow is moving out and the winds are diminishing. We do have our next winter weather advisory that goes into place for Saturday's storm. I'll talk more about that one, but here's the bulk of that storm system. Look at this. We only got the upper edge of this. We've got snow showers all the way through Dallas into Little Rock into Memphis, Tennessee. We'll get accumulating snow likely in Huntsville, Alabama, Alabama tonight. So a pretty impressive storm system that rolled through the country and still has more damage yet to do here. Here's our day tomorrow here in Denver. Lots of sunshine, temperatures getting up there into the 40s. That's still a little bit cooler than normal. So it'll be a cooler day, but sunny and dry. Mountain snow returns on Saturday morning, and that storm system could have some impacts to the metro area like fog, drizzle, light snow. I'll talk about that coming up in the forecast.
Democrats who want to make it easier for Coloradans to unionize and collect union dues in workplaces are going to have trouble getting it past Governor Jared Polis. In his State of the State address today, he said that he wants any pro-labor bill to have the support of the business community. Are you essentially handing your veto pen to the business community and allowing them to stop anything that they don't like?
Well, I don't hand it to labor or the business community. What my goal here is we've had a fair and stable way of organizing unions for 81 years in our state that's avoided huge fights of going to open shop or closed shop. We have kind of a unique hybrid, and just so Coloradans know how this works, you have a vote to choose to unionize in your workplace. Simple majority, you got a union. But if you want the union to deduct money from everybody's paycheck, even people who don't want to join the union, then there needs to be a second vote. And I don't think abolishing that second vote is right.
My full conversation with Governor Polis today touched on the size of state government spending, immigration, gun control, and his efforts to find common ground with the incoming Trump administration. You can see the full unedited interview on the next YouTube channel. So to run the state of Colorado, do it at the same level of services as last year, that would cost an extra $700 million in the coming year. Add on top of that, a voter-approved $750 million for public safety, and now the state's Joint Budget Committee has to find $1 billion in cuts. K-12 education funding appears to be safe. The legislators on that committee want to avoid cuts. So where exactly is all this money going to come from? The Joint Budget Committee's chair, Democratic State Senator Jeff Bridges, gave us one small example.
The Colorado Energy Office has a program where they spend about $500,000 a year helping marijuana grow centers become more energy efficient. Right? That's nice, but it's not a need to have. This is a really great example of a program that will be gone, and that's $500,000. But there's not another 1,999 of these programs to get to $1 billion.
About 1/3 of Colorado's state budget funds K-12 education. A third is Medicaid, 15% prisons and higher ed, then smaller amounts for courts, public safety, and public health. Legislators on the Joint Budget Committee have until about March to find the $1 billion in cuts before the full legislature will vote on the final budget.
A sergeant with the Denver Sheriff's Department has been terminated, and video reveals why. 9 News investigates obtained this police body cam footage from a traffic stop last April. An officer pulled over Sergeant Bridget Andrews for going 90 miles an hour on I-25. As the officer walks up to her window, she is seen holding her department ID and badge holder. The officer scolded her during the traffic stop and eventually notified the Sheriff's Department. Discipline records indicate Andrews wasn't fired for flashing her department ID, but rather not being honest about what happened. She's appealing her termination after nearly 9 years with the agency. A Mountain View counselor who's accused of shooting a teenager in the face is at risk of losing his seat. The town announced today that it received a petition to recall Brett Metz, and that petition appears to have enough signatures. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office says Metz shot a 17-year-old in Conifer in September. Deputies say the teen and his friend were on Metz's property to ask about taking homecoming pictures there. The teen who was shot survived. If no one protests the petition for a recall by January 21st, a recall election will automatically be triggered. Under state law, the town would be required to set a date in roughly 1 to 3 months.
So the Broncos have kind of openly been talking for a little bit about leaving Mile High for another stadium, right? They were polling fans, asking them, like, how far would you drive? How might this work?
Need bigger, need better. You need to update, right?
Yeah.
Appease the fans. The Curtin Stadium apparently isn't an option, so there are other sites around the Denver metro area. But tonight, we're hearing of a new one, and that's why we bring in 9 News sports guy Chris Tavares. Sources tell Broncos insider Mike Kliss that they're looking south.
Yeah, and
Lone Tree.
Geographically, it kind of makes more sense because that's where the Broncos headquarters are, down in Dove Valley. But this is pretty surprising news that Mike Cliss dropped on all of us on Twitter earlier today. 9 News Sports has learned that Broncos executives and ownership have considered the affluent suburb 15 miles south of Empower Field. That includes having conversations with city officials in recent months, but calls by 9 News to Lone Tree city officials were not returned today, and the Broncos declined to comment. Owner and CEO Greg Penner, team president Damani Leach, and the Broncos have consistently said that they're keeping all options open as they determine the future of their stadium. It's been a methodical approach involving the gathering of information, reviewing stadium possibilities, including visits to other stadiums and surveying fans. Now, Empower Field at Mile High just finished its 24th season. It's undergone multiple upgrades over its lifetime, including a record $100 million in improvements from the Walter Penner Group in 2023. But everybody's always looking for newer and bigger. You look at SoFi Stadium, which is the nicest stadium I've ever been to. That was $1 billion stadium. So the finances are going to be a big thing if we are serious about moving forward and building a new stadium. But at just 24 years old, to me, it feels like a relatively young stadium still, and this seems a bit premature in my estimation.
And they just put $100 million into. I mean, I suppose money's relative when you're that rich. Like, you know, like we paint our house and we're like, we're locked in for 10 years.
We're not moving anywhere.
We're not going anywhere. We just put a fresh coat of paint on the place.
But most people also want it to be here. I mean, the fans say it's got to be in Denver. I mean, that's where we think of it.
I think that's where across the country, where you've seen the most success with stadiums is downtown in the urban core. There's just so much more that goes on. And you look at what happened with Coors Field. It was something that Mike Cliss pointed out in his article on 9news.com, but it kind of revitalized the Lodo area.
100%.
Yeah. And the River Mile project is going to be built out by Ball Arena to connect downtown Lodo to where the Broncos are playing. I mean, here's the deal, right? Like, we know how negotiations work. Like,
yes.
This could be a bluff, this could be a whatever, you never know. Like, it's not like they're definitely leaving, but downtown is moving towards the Broncos Stadium while they're saying, maybe we'll leave.
Owners are always trying to get more money wherever they can, and whenever you're threatening, we might go somewhere else, we might leave downtown Denver and go to Lone Tree, then Denver ponies up a little bit more.
Sure.
Well, let's talk about this a little bit more.
Yeah.
And bring it up right as you're going to the playoffs for the first time in many years.
Well, you got to strike while the iron's hot.
Oh,
right?
yeah, you do.
Right? All right.
Thanks,
Chris,
Chris.
thank you.
Yeah.